This video is about lines. There are a lot of terms for lines, and so we're going to look at different types of lines. So the first one isn't really a line, it's called a point. A point is a set location. It's represented by a simple dot or point. Often, points will be labeled, so you could label this point with letters. Today, we're just going to label this point C, just to show that you don't have to start with any particular letter. This is point C. This location is right here on the smartboard. This is another point. This location is here. It's a set location. We'll call that point D. So those are points. Then you have what's called a line. A line is a set of points that are all connected together, and it goes on in both directions forever. So it forms this sort of straight thing, and to indicate that it goes on in both directions, you will often see an arrow. So even if I put points on this line, I could have point A and point B. And as a symbol, you might see line AB, and it might be symboled just like that. You could also say that it's line BA, because you could say it in both directions. Then we have what's called a line segment. A line segment is just a part of the line. If the line goes on forever in both directions, well, then we need to cut it off. So you'll see a lot of time what's called end points for a line segment. And so this could be line X, Y. And to put a symbol, you could have line XY, or it could be line YX. So you could do it in any order, as long as you name it with the same letters. Then you have what's called a ray, which is a line that only goes in one direction. So in order to indicate that, you have an end point and an arrow point, arrow side of it to show. And you can call this line EF. The ray could go in any direction. So you could even have one that's diagonal with an end point there. That shows that it's an array. So the symbol for ray, if you're reading, you might see something that says, and that just means ray. Then you have what's called angles. Angles is when you take two line segments or two lines and they meet together at a point. And the point is called a vertex. So for instance, if I use this line segment and this line segment together, this part right here is known as the vertex. If you're talking about more than one, you would say vertices. You might see these words around. Vertices just means more than one vertex. Now, these are named with letters as well. So you might see, I'm just going to be simple here, A, B, C. This is known as angle A, B, C, or angle C, B, A, or just simply angle B. The angle or the vertex is always the middle letter here. So that's what we're using. Continuing on, we're going to look down at parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines that are always the same distance apart, and they never ever touch no matter how long you draw them. So even if one's shorter like this and one is longer like this, they go in the same direction, and you're measuring from here to here. If it's the same distance apart, if that distance is 1 inch or 1 centimeter, as long as they are the same distance. And we can say that this is a line segment since I don't have arrows to indicate that it's a line. Those are known as parallel. Again, parallel lines could go in any direction. They don't have to be the same length. They just have to be the same distance apart. And that's parallel. You might see a line segment AB is parallel to line segment CD. And that's what that means. So this is the symbol for parallel. Then you have what's called intersecting lines. Intersecting lines are lines that cross over each other. Okay? And then we have perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines are lines that form a right angle. So it's like a wall I'm just going to use two rays, and a floor. This is a right angle. You could even have it upside down so you have a right angle upside down with line segments. These are perpendicular lines, and they don't even have to stop at the point. This would be perpendicular, and this would be perpendicular. And so the symbol for that, you might see line segment AB is perpendicular. This is the symbol for perpendicular to CD. Okay? And so you can have AB, and sorry, let me rephrase that. AB is perpendicular to BC. And the reason is that's the name of the sides. This is BC, and this is AB, telling you that they are perpendicular to one another. I didn't label the lines above, but you get the idea. And those are lines.